Welcome to another Wargamers Hangout where we might actually talk about something or might not. Who knows? You'll just have to stay tuned and see. We actually have somewhat of a theme to this episode. I'll put it in the title later, I guess. We're talking about different list building and assassination versus attrition, and we'll see where we go from there. But first, as you all know, I'm Codex Dan. And with us, we have Miranda, also known as Wargamer Girl.
Hello.
And, hi. And then Owen, the cooler. He's losing. Nobody cares about him.
Fine, you like that.
Welcome to another Wargamers Hangout where we might actually talk about something or might not. Who knows?
Not me.
Who's playing in the background? We actually have some.
Is it you, Dan?
Maybe. I'm trying to find. Oh, I do have it. Dang it.
Wow.
All right, so
Anyway,
on topic. All right, so to start off, let's do the last 2 weeks. What have we been doing? Owen, go.
Last 2 weeks. Painted Space Marines, got a new map for this table, went to the Star Wars finals, and got a Chaos Army. Yep. That's wargaming related.
Chaos.
Warriors of Chaos, the fantasy one.
Fantasy.
The good one. The good one. Back when Chaos were still like fighters instead of space pansies, and they were being led by Failbadon the Armless. These ones are being led by like Vikings.
All right.
Go watch for I don't remember. Never mind. I'll find it. I'll bring it up later. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I went to the Star Wars final. Those were the top 16 players who had played in a regional series of tournaments we'd had. So whoever was the top 16 went to this one. I was number 12 when I went, and then I lost first round, and that was it for me. Because it turns out it was first round eliminations, and P. Sevi does not like it when Pyre Trolls roll 665 for damage. You get a case of the deads.
You're a noob.
I know, right?
You're supposed to cool down the dice. That is your thing.
That was the thing. That's why I played this right. Don't have to roll dice.
Oh, that sucks.
That happens.
Yeah, Sevi. Was it a kill box scenario?
Nope, I just played badly. I was 10 inches up the board, which basically asked to die.
Wait, that's like in your deployment zone still.
Yeah, it is. But that's Sevi. I mean, when I was at the Masters, the Warmachine weekend qualifier at the Southern Ontario, Sevi literally sat on the edge of the board and never left it. Like he just sat right on the very edge, and the adjudicators were within 16 inches of him, and that was it.
Were you playing P-Madrak? E-Madrak.
E-Madrak. Yeah.
E-Madrak likes to bring the Pirate Troll in the Impaler.
Yep. He had the double warders and like pigs. Oh, that was another thing. When the pigs made 7 out of 9 tough rolls, I'm like, I hate this game.
What, like Slaughterhousers?
No, burrowers.
Oh.
They can tough, and so he unburrows and attacks, and then I'm like, okay, ashes to ashes, ashes to ashes, tough. Like, okay, well now we're in trouble because those errants were supposed to block Sevi, and now I've got all these pigs in the way, and I can't do anything about it other than to shoot adjudicators at them, which is not a good plan.
Yeah, at least they're all knocked down. You could.
Yeah, but he had the way it was, he had that one ability, the one fell call, where if I kill one in melee, I get knocked down.
Oh.
And then he also had them, he put a whole bunch of buffs on them. They all died, like the errants had to do it, and they killed them all. But at that point, I was like, well, now I'm really out of position, and Sevi's like in the open, basically, with no focus, and then died.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, it happens. But yeah, good event. Hung out and ended up talking. People, the owner of Lionel, the owner of X Planet, one of the clubs in the area, has basically talked me into giving 40K another chance. So, seeing as I had nothing else to do for the tournament day, and I'm like, I drove an hour to be here. I'm gonna friggin' hang out here and play pickup games against other people because it was one round you're out. It wasn't like you go play the other losers kind of thing. It was just, if you lost, you're out of the tournament, that's that.
It's kind of weird, because no, that's the way it is, right? If you lose once, you're not going to be the winner, and so you're done anyways. But it's still nice to be able to keep playing and keep like meeting new people and playing other lists.
Well, that was the other thing, though. Everyone there knew each other pretty much, because, I mean, there was like 50 tournaments leading up to this, and these were the people that were all the best out of those tournaments. And so it was one of those, you've already dealt with these people at some point. Like, I had played and beaten or lost to everyone else in that tournament 1 or 2 times throughout the last, like, year. And I lost first round here.
Right.
I am the worst of the best. Woo!
For me, I promised a battle report last week, and it didn't actually happen. Mostly I blame Vegas. It keeps crashing on me. I don't know what happened. I did a little update in Windows, and Vegas is not working. So
Never update it. Never update it.
No, it's auto updates. I'm like, oh, it won't be that bad, and then so I think I have a workaround, but I just have to a little bit more editing and rendering. It was mostly the rendering that was the issue. So we'll see. Hopefully by the weekend I'll have something done.
Just
but, that's that. But,
anyone who has any questions or comments, put them in now, even though we won't answer them right away, but that way, after we go through everything you've already asked.
It's true, we'll pick through them.
All right. So I went to, there was something called the Rocky Mountain Cup. It was a pretty big tournament here in Calgary, and people from all over came. We had like 50 people maybe. Not too huge of a tournament. But anyways, I brought my Signar, and I brought Sturgis and E. Haley. And E. Haley had a recently acquired, well, he's in pieces now, but Galleon on Gaston. And then I had a Stormwall on Haley, and then Boomhowlers to like jam. And it was kind of like I don't know, I've never played this list, and let's go. I put it like 1 a.m. the night before. And it performed pretty well until I forgot to feat with E. Actually, no, I convinced myself not to feat with E. Haley against probably a very, very similar list to what Owen lost to. And then Pigs burrowed up, and then Madrak like threw an axe and crit Grievous on one of the Boomhowlers and killed them, and then they like funneled through and they like charged with Blood Fury and with the Fell Call +2 hit. Anyways, They wrecked the Stormwall. And I was like, ah! I was like, what the crap? And I forgot that Pig Burrowers get point blank. And so it's like a POW 14 additional die damage. Freaking. So then I learned a lesson. I should have feeded. And then it would have been an actual game. But I lost. And then I just had a lot of fun. But then the next day, they had a hardcore, 35-point hardcore. So it's 5-minute turns, crazy. So I just massed a big thing of pigs with Midas. And I actually came in second. But I got a mug. It's hard to read. No. Basically, it says best in faction minions. Rocky Mountain Cup. I was the only minions player. I got it by default. But I think I would have got it anyways, because I got second. It's my story, I'm sticking to it. But no, I had a lot of fun. And now I have a Galleon to paint. And Galleon's a lot of fun. Especially with Dougal McNally in the back giving him artillerist. But that's me.
Do you have it mostly assembled now, the Galleon?
Yeah, he's all assembled. I just need to, like, he's like, if you see that little, he's like pinned.
Oh, that's right.
I will assemble him as we talk. And then also magnet. Almost. Anyway, there's a magnet and some paper clips in there, and so it fits in nicely. Both arms, like so. And then he's all good.
Colossal.
It's a great model. I love him. He's so big. I like have the Stormwall. I'm like, Stormwall's so big, and it's like, nope.
Stormwall is
like a pansy.
Isn't it the smallest of them?
He might be.
He's pretty small.
But he's also like defense 10, which is really high for a colossal.
Yeah, considering mine is 7.
Mine is 8.
There. This is the Stormwall, and this is his friend, galleon.
Then you just need to get the, what's the relic one again? The Earthbreaker?
Yeah. But I can't run the Earthbreaker, though.
So
I can't actually bring the Earthbreaker in a Signar list.
Yeah.
But I can bring the galleon.
Oh no.
I'm debating bringing it, if I can fit it, I want to bring it down to Valhalla, and you can experience the horror.
Oh, it's on. I'll think something.
went downtown to play a game this evening, and one of our locals, Sandy, who I play a lot against, we were talking about Food Machine and what to bring, because I found out you can't bring units or solos out of faction. My original plan was to bring the choir with my Sloan Defender list, and you can't do that. So he's like, you know what you should do? You should bring P7 with 3 Judicators in the choir, because you can bring them if they're outside of field allowance. And yeah, that's 50 points, so that's what I'm doing.
Well, you're going to get your hands on a third Sevi. I mean, a third Judy.
There's like 5 man-off players around. I'll find somebody.
That's true, that's true.
Somebody will let me borrow a Judicator for 1 day. I mean, I'll find one. But yeah, it's just Judicator, 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 Sevi, Min Choir.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay, before we move on, I have a crazy story. When playing Midas, 5-minute turns, I go up against Bart Double Galleon with McNally and that wench. The Dirty Meg. Okay, so I'm just like, I have like hordes of bone grinders, and I'm just like, I just lose. But I'm like, there was a wall to hide Midas behind, and basically he just tried to kill Midas the whole time. I ignored my army, and my army just kind of like shuffled up against him. Bart like feats, and I'm like, that's okay, and I just run up everything at base to base with the galleons, and they all get knocked down because when you end your movement in Bart's feet in his control area, you're knocked down. And so they're all knocked down, but then I had like a line of slaughterhouses in behind, basically, and then I had a minion of brigands who just like slowly ran across the board to the other side, and then I had my my flamethrower pig, Roadhog, and I put one of my own hogs in front, and so I assaulted him and flamethrowered through and lit Bart on fire. And so I got Bart down to like 8 boxes left through fire. No, he went down to 3 boxes left, I swear, with fire on him. And then the fire went out, and I'm like, no! I was like, no! But then he was silly, and, well, he couldn't because it's in hardcore, right? You have the pressure point, so if you... No, it doesn't matter, because he had the galleons, and I wouldn't be able to get the pressure points. He should have just run Bart away. That probably, because I wouldn't be able to kill the galleons. They barely ate any... But anyways, he stayed, and then my brigands were able to aim, and he brought Midas down to like 5 HP as well, just through constant barrage of the 2 galleons, despite my best efforts to block line of sight. And but anyways, brigands for the win. I'm like, needed 8s aiming, and then 2 of them hit. 1 killed him, but he toughed. I was like, I only have 1 left, and I got it. And it was, and no one. I should have lost, and it was great to win. And then I went to the finals and screwed up the game, and I lost.
You should have lost, and you didn't. Apparently.
So what have you been doing, Miranda?
Well, the last couple weeks have been hot over here, so we're going to be making molds because my life is resin. But we did finally get an actual full-on proper battle report shot this last weekend, and I'm writing the script and editing it now, or going to be editing it, so that should come up pretty quick.
Nice.
And so that's the biggest, like, my best news. But kind of working on some other things. I got some cool new battle mats in. They just arrived today. Are you guys familiar with Frontline Gaming? They do basically the battle mats that are essentially like big mouse pad type material.
Oh yeah.
They use like the super high resolution images to put the imagery on there. So it looks really amazing. I'm gonna show you.
I actually ordered 2, just going to recently. Like my gaming club is like ordering tons.
Oh yeah, no, they're great. They don't look like they'll like bend at all or wrinkle, or really be affected much by someone bumping into the table. So like there's the one.
Is that the Grassy Plains one?
Yes, it is. So I figured that could be a really cool map. You can say, oh, I don't know, gators.
I love those mats so much.
No, they're like, I just got them, so I can't wait to try them out. Alright, and then the second one is also really cool because it's pretty much designed for my faction. And this looks actually more beautiful than it does on the website. It's the snow.
Oh, nice.
One.
That's the one I haven't seen besides like on the website. Right?
No, it is just like.
What were these from again?
Frontline gaming.
Frontline. Okay.
Yeah, I think the mats run for a 4x4. I want to say they're like 60, 65. But either way, like, I'm super excited because now I have like more mats where before I was running with my one Citadel grass mat and a desert mat we made on our own. So more options.
Yay!
Yay!
The my gaming group all around Alberta, it's about a $3,000 order ordering gaming mats. So it was kind of like, oh, we kind of need some more to get because if you order enough, you can get them for $40 each. But it's still like to Alberta, it's still like $30 shipping.
Yeah.
Because I just checked, they were like $90.
For the 4x4?
For the I'm thinking 6x4. Yeah, the other ones.
Yeah. These are 4x4s. So yeah, if you do it, they're gonna be more if you're running a 4x6. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So for 142, I think I'm getting 2 shipped to me. So 4x4.
Which ones did you get? Like which
I got the Gusty Plains, the one you got, and then the other one I got the Space one actually, just because the few guys I play X-Wing with, it would be cool to play on that.
That's true.
I don't know if make any battle reports or anything, but it'll be fun to play on.
So, thanks for that. And then, of course, there was the video I did with Dave, which came out this morning and is interesting.
I really enjoy your sense of humor and timing. It works very well.
Yeah? Good. There are a few takes on that one. I love Scrapjack. I also love that Black Ivan has Skyfire. It's like, yes.
Well, I was like watching it. It was like, and like last of all, Behemoth, and you're like, and then Scrapjack. They're like, but you said last of all. You're like, and Scrapjack can come too. I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
All right. So before we hop into our main topic, maybe we can take a look at the comments and answer a few things.
Sure.
Saying
That's
hi.
what Frank is here, and he's yelling "Wog."
You walk at the end.
Advanced maneuvers. What major con are each of you planning to attend next?
I don't know. Maybe Adepticon next year.
I was going to say for sure Adepticon for me, and then maybe a sooner one, but I'm not sure. But Adepticon I'll definitely be at again next year.
Yeah, same here. I'll make sure to do that one. It's hard to tell right now at this point in the year because I've got a lot of stuff on my plate. Should be able to make it to Valhalla, but there's like Warmachine weekend. There's Clash for the Cure, which is over in Texas, and I'm not making it to Gen Con, unfortunately. So there's so many. When I was actually looking at an actual schedule for it, you can blow a life savings going to conventions. So.
That's pretty much what I did last year. I went to I went to Lock and Load and Adepticon and Valhalla and Warmachine weekend. I was just like, and I have no money, but I have blast. And then I'm like looking, and I'm like, okay, I can't afford to do that again, but I kind of want to go to as much as possible. Warmachine weekend was actually a lot of fun because it was small, and it was just, I don't know, it was good fun. But the problem is next April, my sister she's in Mexico and she's going to be coming home, so I kind of want to fly out there and spend a week in Mexico and hang out with her and fly back to Ontario with her, and I don't know, because wouldn't have seen her for like a year and a half, so if I want to do that, and that could get expensive, although Mexico might be cheap, I don't know. So I got to figure all that out. If that, if it conflicts with the Adepticon or not, or who knows. So I want to get to Adepticon. For sure, I'll be at Valhalla, but that's not really a major con. But it's all up in the air right now for me.
Yeah, and it's not really a convention so much as a tournament weekend over at Beast of Blades in Denver. So I might be able to go to that one because it's relatively close.
Yeah, other than Adepticon, I'm not going to make it to Gen Con this year either, but I've got a bunch of charity events I'm running later this year. So that's what I'm doing. They're not really conventions, but raising money / food for this, that, and the other thing.
Very good, especially before we go into the winter.
Yeah, they're like October and November and September.
Yeah.
And that's how I count the months.
Next news. Dan, we last spoke. You said the Orc Codex was your last hope for 40K. Since we have seen some new Orc models, do you still feel it's the same? I did pre-order Orc Codex, so when it comes out, I'll have it. And I don't know if I'll do a review on it, but maybe just like some thoughts on the Wargamers Hangout. But we'll see. We'll see. The models look great. The GW models always look fantastic. But from the rumors, I don't know. It seems like they're making orcs into more of a shooty army to make it actually possible to fight other armies, which is lame. But it looks like they're bringing back like a lot more psychers, like Mad Boys, and stuff like that. So that could be amusing and fun.
Because you know how we make orcs better? We should take away what it means to be an orc, and they should become a shooting faction. Not because our rules are messed up, and not because close combat is weaker than shooting. Wait.
You can always play an orc shooty list. It just, when you play it against an actual shooty list like Tau, it just didn't work very well.
Or Space Marines, or Dark Eldar, or Eldar.
I know. Actually, against Dark Eldar, they're pretty good with like bikes and stuff, because you can just slaughter their vehicles.
Against Imperial Guard.
But anyway, so we'll see. We'll see. I'm definitely going to pick up a box of flash kits no matter what, just because they look amazing. But besides that, who knows?
Can't avoid new model acquisition. Just a matter of room for them all. I've got some eliminators. I actually got 2 units of eliminators yesterday, so that's exciting. I hear they can do a lot of damage. What other questions have we got?
Like a week ago, I filled up that shelf with chaos.
Oh, Lord.
Wait, Mandragora Dravgis says, do you think Privateer Press should skip adding full-size factions to Warmachines and Hordes?
Is that supposed to be a thing on Mandragoran or Mandragoran? Never mind. It's a Wheel of Time reference. No, I don't think they should add more full factions, because each full faction they add ends up being these like demi-factions that are competitive only in the sense that your opponents tend to not know what they're doing, and you can only really run them in one particular way.
I kind of like the Cephalix, because it's just a merc contract, right? So you still have the rest of the mercs it just adds more diversity to playing mercs when you're playing tournament lists, because you don't have to bring all Cephalix, you can bring whatever the heck you want.
Right, well they're not a full faction.
Right.
Like,
so that was
Convergence is a faction.
Yeah, Convergence, they're releasing more and more. But yeah, it's like Retribution. Retribution still doesn't have that much.
Right,
well,
exactly.
They're catching. It's exactly the same thing, yeah.
Why not make Retribution into a full faction and then make a new faction?
Because they tried and everyone's like, I don't really like Retribution, so they're not expanding it.
Retribution's darn good too. I don't know. I think there was also the trying to give more of a Jack faction, because if you wanted to run big, heavy things, you really had to play hordes. And a lot of people joined Warmachine because they want to play big robots and run around with those. So, but then Convergence, I don't know. I don't care if their lore is, again, everything wants to just kill all humans or take over the world or be evil or whatever. So.
All of the factions want to take over the world.
Yeah, but they don't all want to be evil.
Not Signar. We just want to sit in our rich, wonderful land and subjugate. No, we want to take over the world. But most of the time, we're just defending our part of the world because everyone hates us because we already tried.
All right, let's see here. Justin Becker asks, was the Growler a focus hog? No, but he can be. But you don't mind if he is, because if you're running him with, say, a red line journeyman, under red line with a journeyman, then you want a lot of focus on him. My practice with the Growler so far is he's still better in melee, because the shots are nice, but they're mostly you're taking out medium wound infantry, or if you have a way of knocking somebody down, then you'll hit them, because he's still a Rat 4 Jack. But that knockdown hammer is amazing. So you can knock something down, and then suddenly your mortar crews are all very, very accurate. So,
man, I wish I had artillery that I could use.
But he doesn't. What's that?
I was just saying, I wish Menov had light artillery that was usable.
No, I think Cato is the best light artillery in the game.
Oh, I agree. Except for in the last league, Menov went back to having the best, or for the first time. When the shot was a 4-inch continuous fire AOE.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty good. I could see using those. But I can't justify buying them because I know in 3 months when this ends, they won't do that anymore. And I won't want them.
Oh, the league modified them to make them awesome?
They gave them continuous fire. So it was like, yep.
That makes a difference. Especially on a 4-inch. No, the AOE, I own 2 mortar crews because I think their AoE is that good. For 3 points, Especially if you're running either of the Sorshas. Just freeze something in place and then, arrows from the woods, except they're big mortars. 20 inches away.
There's a lot of scenarios that benefit artillery, too.
There's a couple of them, yeah. The firepower and whatnot. The one this last scenario I played had it, but I wasn't running a mortar crew for it, so. Seems weird that they would have scenarios that benefit from it, and so few.
Well, because they're trying to entice you to do it, right? Because they know that no one uses the light artillery, so they're like, how about we make a scenario that'll benefit, and maybe somebody will bring a light artillery. And then no one does anyway, not worth it.
But then I did, and then no one plays the scenarios in tournaments that benefit light artillery. They play the other scenarios.
Scenarios in tournaments.
Well, I am.
Maybe it's because I played 6-round tournaments recently.
Yeah, probably. No, with Nemo 3, the lightning tower, whatever, light artillery for Signar is good. But that's the only way it's good.
I played against the Imperatus today with my Menov, and he's a pretty scary Jack. Does not want to die. In Viable Resolve, he was playing P-Iros, or Viros rather. So he had sidestep and 360 view, and so he was just going wherever he wanted. Like he would charge some backwards angle, and then sidestep another direction, and then sidestep again, until my Templar got on him and killed him, or at least mangled it enough that I didn't have to worry about it for a little while. Scary guy, scary heavy.
Like the Warmachine equivalent of Mullet Karn?
Basically. Especially because when he's with Viros, he can have 4 focus. He's a Mat 7 POW effect. He's going to be 19 because it boosts him. Arm 21, sidestepping, reach, continuous fire, heavy. That's speed 6. And you can put mobility on him. So it's like, off he goes. And, I killed him because it was Nick playing, but still.
Sounds delightful.
Alright, there's one more question in here. It looks like we missed. Pulse had asked, what do you guys think of your faction's main weaknesses, and how do you compensate in your lists or strategy? Big fan, avid Warmachine player. Huh. Pulse, what faction do you play, I wonder?
We can kind of go into that when we start talking about our lists.
I guess. Well, I can answer it real easy. I play Menov, and we watch out for assassination because we have arguably the easiest to kill casters, and I usually play really far back / run away. And that's how I stay alive.
You're a jerk.
I know.
That helps you win.
Kendra loves the infantry. They're a really, I think, good combined arms list. They just don't excel at being like, as everyone calls, the axe to face or whatever. Like, they're not the fastest. They don't even really hit the hardest if you think about what Cricks can do. But they can do most things. Like, we have good artillery. We have really amazing infantry. And we also have a few amazing jacks. So it's just kind of a matter of handling that right. And the caster support is really big. Because depending on what caster you're running, you can be really assassinatable. Or you can be a super solo. So, like Vlad 1, he doesn't really worry about getting assassinated too easily. She's just got to be kind of careful, but she's terrifying. Like, either one of them. So, like, our casters are our strength. Probably not as much as Signar, I guess. But
no, I think Khador definitely have the beefiest casters, like across the board, in that their ability to kill and stop being killed is probably the best average compared to the other factions. Like, yeah, E-Striker can hit and kill better than they could, in theory, but
kill anything.
Then you got E-Kane, who can just die, so...
E-Kane's pretty good, and, I mean, there's the Haleys. Like, I guess Epic Haley is really good at pissing everybody off and making them hate Signar.
Right, but they're not... The Haley herself is not very good at very much. Like,
No,
she controls the board. Yeah. Like Harbinger in that sense. Harbinger's really good, but Harbinger can be assassinated pretty easily, and is not that... Well, she's kind of pretty good at assassinating, but she plays for control of the board instead of assassination or durability. I don't know. My opinion.
Signar just has troubles with killing big armor things.
Yep.
So just try to get around that, and once you get around that, you start doing well.
Yeah.
Why you bring 2 Colossals in the list, and they kill everything.
So...
Get ready. Alright, so, before the show, Miranda sent me a message about
an idea for what would be a good topic for you guys, and what kind of player base things, yeah. So...
Go off on it. Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Figure I could explain it better. But either way, so obviously we all play this game, Warmachine. It's a competitive game, and I think most people can agree that, you know, the object of the game is to win, but the point of the game is to have fun.
I thought those are the same thing.
And so that's actually the question. So what constitutes being fun? Because you can, if you enjoy, for example, really playing on the scenario, but your opponent, say, only wants to ever go for an assassination and finds you're playing for scenario annoying. I mean, do you guys ever run into situations like that, or what have you found to generally be what is considered fun in this game? Is it killing the other person, or is it outmaneuvering them, or what is it?
For me, it really depends on who you're playing, right? Like, if you're playing someone who understands the game, is more on your level, then you just play for... I mean, you play with a scenario, of course, so if someone keeps their caster way back and their army way back, then you just auto-win by scenario, so it forces you to engage, it forces a more balanced list, and so you can, you know, compensate for little things, and it just turns out to be a real fun, awesome, kind of tournament-esque, casual, like practice tournament lists, basically. And everyone's like bringing, I'm preparing for this tournament or this event, and these are the lists I'm playing, and that's great fun. And so you don't really worry about assassination or scenario play or whatever with that. But what I find when you start playing with more casual players who don't go to a lot of events or are still learning, and I'm hesitant playing with scenario or whatever, or I like almost play poorly sometimes because some people are like, oh, I'm afraid I don't want to die, and you're like, okay, I'll run up and then I'll just win my scenario because you didn't move your army forward. Especially a Signar, because they have such a huge range, and they look at that and they're like, I don't know what to do. So sometimes it's better to play without scenario, to let people abuse certain things. I don't know, just to learn. But
well,
in general,
okay. But maybe let's take it from where you are on an evil.
That long, rambling answer was not an answer to the question. What is fun for you? Is it winning, or are you playing to do something else for fun?
Well, try to win, right? Winning is always the goal.
So winning is fun. Got it.
But if I lose and I learn something, then it's still fun. Right?
I like lighting things on fire. That's basically been my big thing since I started playing Mena. What's fun for me is lighting your army on fire. Whether I win or lose, if I got 15 some odd fire tokens on the board, we're good.
Fair.
So annoying.
That's how I beat Imperatus. When he has a whole bunch of shield wall guys, and you're like, Aaron's do continuous fire on their crossbows. Choo, 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 choo. Everyone's on fire, and Fior feats. All right, let's do this. I have 18 focus. Come assassinate me, Imperatus.
That's when
Next
you
turn,
look
fire auto kills everybody. Yep.
Better hope you got your Mage Hunter Strike Force in there. Or my Mage Hunter Strike Force in there.
No, we don't let the Thunder Strike Force live. Double Vanquisher deals with that.
Oh, okay.
But even then, Fiora's defense is so high that they're going to be missing a lot.
Yeah. Unless you bring Raven, you're not necessarily going to kill her. Actually, even without focus or defense buffs, you're unlikely to kill Fiora with Mage Hunters. You have to have a buff either for hitting or for damage, and preferably for damage, because you won't kill her on average dice. Seeing as she's our third.
Yep. Yeah. What I've found more and more is that I play for, not so much for scenario, but I play for attrition, and that's the most fun I have. In that you want to like whittle down their army, and when crap hits the fan, you come out on top and force them to make a desperate maneuver, and then you can counter-assassinate them or whatever. And like, there's nothing more satisfying to me when you're playing a game and you kill their army, and your caster is safe, and they're just like, and they're just, they're just dead in their head. They're just like, there's nothing, I can't, and they're like, well, it's getting desperate, my army's dying, I gotta go for the assassination run, but you planned for that, and you're like, not perfectly safe, but like, it's just, they just really can't get you.
You know, it's very unlikely.
And then you're just there, and you're like, aha. It's job well done.
So
that's the most fun I have when I play.
I think part of the fun is the strategy of it. I mean, it's not, Warmachine isn't exactly a war game. It's a very gamey game in how things work, you know? Like, oh, well, here's this funny spell that allows this random thing to happen that's not entirely realistic, but, you know, whatever, it's part of the game. So getting up in a way where you've kind of outmaneuvered your opponent always makes me feel really good. I'm like, well, you know, even if I've lost, but I feel like I've played well, like, I'm happy with it. And I hate taking risks. Like, I always find assassination to be extremely risky, because if it fails, usually you're just out there with, you're gonna die, basically.
You're flapping in the wind.
Yeah, exactly. And so I know there are a number of people who will always go for that. Even if it's a really risky assassination, they'll just go for it because that's the fun part to them. But I don't know how everyone else feels about that. I don't like it. I would rather win on scenario or out attritioning, even if it's a slower game, than just going for like a 30% assassination chance.
I do also like trying to break the meta. I am a fan of that. Like, I double adjudicator with Sevi. 15 light jacks with Vindictus. Eat Krios and my 8 units of Knight Exemplar. Like it's exciting to try and do something that no one like when you go and when you hand them your list and they look at it and they're just like I don't what is this? What do you do against that? Because it's something so outside of what you're expecting to see. Like I got that a lot when I had Vindictus and he had his 15 light jacks with him, and that was it. He had a min unit of dudes to sacrifice for the jacks. But nobody knew how to counter that. Like you don't know. Like when you build your list, you're like, oh, that'll be against that drop, and that'll be against. And then all of a sudden you get one guy who's just like, we've got 400 boxes of damage and arm 21 across the board. Let's do this. Not gonna lie, I have no idea what I would run if I had to go up against that. My breaking of the meta is the breaking of David Harris's spirit every time we play. It's true.
So Jonathan Enzor says, for me, I love finding those moments in the game that you can talk about weeks later. I'm not so worried about winning or losing if I have a story to tell. We're like, do you remember when Mulg charged like 37 inches across the board?
Promo. That guy carries that faction. Ugh.
Mulg's kind of amazing. No, I agree. The moments are pretty fun. It's always, okay, so maybe what makes the game unenjoyable? What makes an unenjoyable game for you? What makes it boring, or what makes it
my opponent
really distasteful?
A opponent who has poor, I'm going to use the word sportsmanship. We had a guy like that in our local area here to the point where it was basically a running joke. We sat down the one day and we were all making jokes about it, and everyone had a horror story of having played with this guy, from like him blatantly cheating to unwilling to like shake anyone's hand to getting mad and just like shoving his models all back in a box and just storming out of a tournament to like something. And I'm like, that is unenjoyable to me. I will win or lose or get outplayed or outplay someone, and it can all be fun. But I dislike playing against people that are like that.
Yeah, I bet sportsmanship is probably up there as the #1 thing. Because on the one hand, again, it's a competitive game. And so when you're doing badly, you feel like you are terrible at it, or you're not smart enough to handle what's going on at you or whatever. And so you put people on edge really easy, and it's just a matter of how you handle that. And I'll go on edge at times too, but you always have to remember, like,
well, of course, I'm not saying that's the case. I mean, it happens to everybody. I can get mad and be like, these friggin' guys don't help me at all, or I can't believe I forgot to do that, or something like that. Like, it happens. But there is a difference. Yeah.
No, there absolutely is. Like, throwing objects.
Yeah.
Hard line crossed.
I'm not going to shake your hand because you're not the kind of person that I should lose to.
Was it that guy?
Yeah, that was that guy. And then we played and I beat him again. And I'm like, apparently you are the kind of person.
Well, that's the thing. They make themselves into such stooges when they do it. Because, one,
he is getting better, though, to be fair. So in case he ends up watching this, you are making an improvement, and I do appreciate it. And I'm sure the meta does too. So keep up the good work.
And that should always be encouraged.
Yeah, so like don't like alienate someone because they were a dick in previous games. Like if they're gonna try and get better, benefit of the doubt.
There have been people I know who were alienated because they would throw objects. So.
Like, and
was it a woman? Women throw objects.
What?
I'm asking if the player was a woman that threw objects. Because when they get mad, that's like that's the classic thing, right? I don't know anything about women.
It's not so much the I don't really like having a random person come to the table and give tactics or advice to a game they're not participating in.
That's the worst.
Or tell you what lists you should play altogether, or change everything about your list because they talked to somebody else without talking to you. Anyway.
See, the people here have learned not to listen to me, because I walk over and give bad advice.
Oh, you just do that on purpose.
I'll be like, no, assassinate. He's like, but I can do it on scenario. No, you could do it. All you need to roll is like a 7 and an 11, and you kill it. And you can boost him. Come on, how can that go wrong? He's like, guaranteed win. I'm like, but that's not really winning. He lost. And he's like, why did I do that? I'm like, I don't know. Stupid comes to mind.
I'm just being mean.
Yeah, that's because, yep.
Cruel man.
But to expand on the idea just a little bit more, so that, because I've been thinking about it. You've heard the phrase, gun lines aren't fun lines. Style of play comes into mind too. 40K has a ton of shooting, right? Billion Tau, you're doing a ton of shooting. And people get mad because they're like, oh, well, it's not really fun because you're just rolling dice for shooting instead of having, move the models first and then roll dice for the hitting. So do you think that, I don't know, what do you think of gun lines for one? And
I understand that kind of thinking. I've read an article on that when a guy was talking about what it means to want to win a game, and that people will make these artificial rules in their mind of like what's fair and what's not fair. The example they used was like a fighting game. Imagine the one combo is really good, and you just constantly use that one combo. One player will say like, oh, you shouldn't use that anymore because it's too good, and then you would agree not to use it. In this game, you don't have that option. You have to learn how to be a better player and get around it. And if the game is good, which I think Warmachine is, there isn't that, like a gun line. Yeah, gun lines are good and scary against some things, but there are direct counters to gun lines. And you just need to be able to anticipate and deal with them when they come up. So
I think it's more just people who play a little more casually get that issue, because it's like, I've spent this money, spent this time painting, and I have my army, and they have that one army. But unfortunately, Warmachine, if you just have the one army, someone can just build an army that will almost always beat that army, and you have to be able to adjust and switch some stuff up, which involves a lot more painting, a lot more buying of models, which sometimes is an option for some people. And so if their army just dies to gun lines, they can get super pissed super quick because they just never have any fun, and they're forced to buy more stuff, which they think, I don't know. I haven't been in that spot in a long time.
Yeah.
Especially as orcs. Like, I don't know, it was a challenge. I was like, oh, well, my orcs just die, but if I can get to you, I'll kill you in 40K. That changed in 6th edition, and I slowly stopped playing that game. but Warmachine, I try, like, yeah, you're like, oh, I can bring my long gunners and all this stuff, and I can do so much damage, and then you just die to either scenario or other things. There's just a lot of different counters. I think Warmachine is a very balanced game, and so it's fine.
It's a mostly balanced game. I've had one of my friends has said it kind of aptly that it's a game of sledgehammers. Like, you build a list, and every time your design of it is always just to wreck whatever's on the other side. At least most of the time.
Rex, you can't put links in the comments here, but he's talking about, it's by David Serlin. It was a big article, and it's like pages and pages long. I didn't finish it, but that's what I was referring to. They talk about what it costs to actually play to win. And artificial rules to make yourself think that you're doing better won't work. Because, I mean, yeah, Dan, your example of the casual player, right? He has his army, maybe a second army, but every time he goes up against his one buddy who brings the gun line and beats him, that means that guy can't ever really go and play against anyone else. Because unless his friends agree not to, when he goes somewhere else to play, like let's say he goes to a tournament for once, and he ends up playing against people who are like, yeah, gun lines are just a thing. I mean, that's the game. He's not going to have a good time, and you're not going to be encouraged to go to other tournaments. You should just not make artificial rules for yourself, because it makes sense not to.
I think the moral of the story is just be a competitive player. That's the funnest way to enjoy a war game.
And have a competitive war game.
Yeah. There's lots of people who like to just paint and assemble their models and push them around on the table, but I'm sure they are familiar with losing most games.
They're familiar with losing. Don't worry about those dirty hobbyists.
No, it's like you're saying. You have one list, especially in a game like this, where it's so easily countered, or you don't have enough models to really switch out to make these different builds to actually fight the other side, especially since the meta does change. So even if you had a good list at one time, you know, new models come out, or Colossals come out, or something like that, and your army isn't as viable anymore. So you have to kind of be willing to get on that treadmill and grind it out to keep up with it. Otherwise, yeah, like new players, you end up losing most games until you get it.
Break the meta. Bring nothing but lights. It can be done.
I can't do that.
Sure you can. Bring nothing but berserkers.
They're not lights.
Yeah, so they're berserkers. Bring like, they're 6 points, right?
So I do have an idea for this.
Bring like 9. See what happens.
Well, that's kind of my idea. So
Don't tell your opponent what's going to come up. Just be like, boop.
well, we have a tournament coming up on July 7th, 4th, 6th? July 6th. It's a Sunday. And the requirement is Tier 4, 47 points. So I don't play Butcher. So I'm looking through like, what the heck Tier 4 do I have? And then I discovered that Hardship has an interesting one. Because if you just take all the minimum other units and then just take a bunch of like cheap jacks, that sidearm spell is beastly. You can get like defense 17 berserkers out on the board, and they're just walling up across the board on you.
Wait, what does the spell do?
Sidearms gives you +1 defense for every other model in your battle group that you are base to base with, and you can't be knocked down. So, what's that?
You just huddle up.
Yeah, no, you make a line, like linebackers or whatever, and then just walk across up to the scenario, and you're like, you can't hit me, because all these jacks are ridiculous defense.
Apparently, Vlad won tier list with 11 berserkers.
Vlad won with Tier 1, not Tier 4. I don't want to take 2 units of, I don't have 2 units of pikemen, I think is what the requirement on that one is.
Huh. Oh, it's because berserkers are cheaper. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
You can play tier 1 with just 11. Yeah, you should do that.
But it has to be Tier 4.
Maybe not this one, but another time. It would be great.
No, that one definitely expires. It's been done before. I mean, it's kind of like the Berserker or the Doom Reaver list. You just spam Berserkers and you have signs and portents up, so they're all probably hitting.
In fact, make those your 2 lists. Bring nothing but berserkers in one and nothing but Doom Reavers in the other. And that'll be your 2 list drop, and be like, which one are you going to get? I don't know. I'm going to roll.
The problem is I don't own that many Berserkers. I own 2. That means I'd have to find someone to borrow them from.
How many more do you need?
9.
Huh?
How many more do you need?
Like 9.
Oh.
Like that. But yeah, I don't have the numbers for Vlad 1's tier, so I have another one in mind, but the Karchev one entertained me a lot. Even if you take it out of tier and just skew list it, where he's just taking a ton of jacks and mechanics, they're just sidearms, man. That spell is kind of win.
Oh, man. 47 tier 4? Eat Krios all the way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nice.
It would be like drop 1 Seneschal. Same thing as I already bring.
Signar has a lot of good tier lists.
Turns out Vindictus' tier list is amazing.
Wait. Are you only allowed to bring 1 tier list, and that's your list?
Yeah, it's a 1 list format, 47 points, and it has to make tier 4 requirements. And he's giving you the specialist option, but I don't know, with it being as rigid as it is already, that you can really switch much out.
The specialist, you said 50 points, right?
No, 47.
Oh, that's right. So specialist would be 9 points?
Yeah, he said 10.
10, okay.
So I don't know. I'm going to either take something ridiculous, which is most likely.
Do something ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're the best.
Really just show up to pay and play games with people all day. Fun.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Crazy List.
So talking about crazy moments earlier, like the guy who plays for those crazy moments you can talk about. I was playing against Crix with Sturgis, the new Signarcaster, and turns out he's really good against Crix. So I have Arcane Tempest Gun Mages, couple Stormclads, Squire, Gorman, Lanissa, Ion Holt, Black 13th, just a bunch of crazy solos. But anyways, he runs up, he's got, who's he playing? He's playing Gore-Shaped 3 on the horse. And so he comes up, first turn, I'm also joining Jakes with a Hunter. So it turns out, Jakes with a Hunter, first turn, you can shoot in their deployment. Like 2 inches. Because of Energizer and Snipe. So,
yep.
Yeah. So that's a thing. So I did that and took out one of his Bane Cav first turn. And I was like, mwah.
See?
And then second turn, he runs right up with like everything, and just because he's trying to rush me, right? But then Lanissa, Hunter's Mark something. Then the Black 13th activate, they go up, they shoot a Mage Storm in kind of a strategic place. I only hit like 3 guys, but it's right beside a bunch of other guys. So the Mage Storm's there, POW 12, if you enter it, take another POW 12. And then Sturgis charges the thing that was Hunter's Mark, so he has like a 13-inch threat, and he's like, and charges some guys. Then he kills all of them around him, and he has Electroleap on one of his. So he has 2 initials, and one of them has Electroleap. And if you spend one, you get 2. Basically, so he kills everyone around him. Then he feats, and everyone gets sucked in 3 inches. So there's like a, there's like a 7-inch, something like that, threat around him. It's just like, and then it POW 12 to everything there, and it's like, boom. And anything that didn't die, I just buy a few attacks against and kill. And then I teleported out. And then Ion and Holt, they harmed the Bane Knight Calv, and then I rolled really well with my gun mages. Anyways, 90% of his army was dead. It was just gone. I was like, yeah! And then I somehow left a line to Sturgis, and Gorshay got in there, and he just killed him. But it was great. It was just the look on his face where he's like, my whole turn 2, my whole army's dead. I don't know what to do. It was wonderful. But Gorman was a little too close to Sturgis with his cloud. It's that, oh, I'm winning, I did super good, and then you just, one little guy is like, 1/4 inch out of position, and I died.
Well, sorry to jump on that, but I've got to get going. I have another show tonight, so.
Yeah, we've already done that here, so thanks for joining in.
It's already been an hour, yeah. So, see you all later, and I have games to play.
What show are you? Link or what? Advertise yourself, man.
It's the game with the cooler. I mean, we hang out and play video games every Wednesday night.
On your channel, which is Game with the Cooler?
Yeah.
All right.
It's about to start.
Well, it's been fun, Owen.
It is. It's been fun. Yeah. I didn't want to be like, everyone go leave Dan's show and watch mine. Because my show is going to have a lot less interesting things going on, because it's just going to be us hanging out and playing video games together. So we won't be even giving good advice. It'll just be like, this game I'm not very good at, and I'm going to lose. So I'm kidding. I'm going to go win tonight. See you later.
See ya.
Wow.
All right. Well, I would say we should ask everybody what last questions there might be. Wrap it up ourselves.
I got a little bit of stuff. I don't even know if I like that. Whatever. He's getting paint on him. That's the important thing.
All right. Anybody else who has comments or questions? You have 2 minutes to put them in.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, yeah, Advanced Universe kind of confirms, it's not so much the game mechanics so much as I really don't like having that random person come to the table and give tactics/advice to a game they are not participating in. The game is 1v1, not 1v1 plus 1. So.
Mm-hmm. On a side note, I love the movie Groundhog Day. And so I watched Edge of Tomorrow. because it seemed like you would like it, and it was a great movie.
Fantastic movie.
Uh-huh. I mean, it didn't have Bill Murray, but still good. Still good. I like how it had the same feel as Groundhog Day, with like the discovering the options of, oh, I get to start every day anew, and then the comedy of it.
But great.
That all went very well.
No, I really like that movie. That's an excellent movie. And this one, it's just nice to see like a science fiction movie not disappoint, because there've been several coming out, and like Pacific Rim I really enjoyed, and then this one, like when Prometheus came out, it was so sad, and I don't really consider Transformers much of a science fiction so much as I consider it like fantasy. But I'm gonna watch this new one just because of Mark Wahlberg.
They're gonna be riding giant dinosaurs.
Mark Wahlberg and a Tyrannosaurus Rex that Optimus Prime is jousting on.
Right. They're gonna have giant dinosaurs, so it's gonna be good. It's gonna be terrible, but there's gonna be great parts. That's my conclusion. And talking about bad Michael Bay movies, have you seen the preview for the new Ninja Turtles?
No.
It actually gives me a little bit of hope for the movie. Surprisingly.
Yeah. Oh, I hope so.
Well, it shows more Donatello, and Donatello's got like crazy gadget goggles on all the time. Like it's more like modern day, like tech and stuff. And
Bizarre.
so it was kind of neat actually.
Yeah.
I got like little like rockets on their skateboards. They're flying around. It could be good. Again, it's Michael Bay, so there'll be some fun, crazy scenes. But as for the depth of the story, I'm not hoping for a whole lot.
Jonathan Enzor. I've always been meaning to get into Warmachine more. You guys provide good inspiration. Thanks very much. Well, thank you. And thank you, Dan.
Wait, what?
I'm not really sure what Berserk is talking about. Can you use an Inventist style or Austrian macro play?
All right.
Hello. Sorry. Mandragora, Wormhorde Stories. Do you guys own / read the novels / novellas? Do you find them equal / worse than the Forces of books? I read the Invender Forged book, the one that was not part of the Skull Expeditions series about Catherine Lattimore. I thought that was perfectly fine.
I'm kind
They
of
can make more interesting stories. What's that?
I'm kind of a snob when it comes to just fantasy or science fiction writing.
Yeah.
I kind of only read the best of the best, at least in my opinion. So when I read like the stories in Warmachine, the Forces books or whatever, I'm like, they're alright, but it's kind of like they're trying to tell the story of people playing the tabletop game. And I don't know. It's like I read really quick like a Halo book, and people love those books, but I read it and I was just like, it's trying too much to seem like you're in the video game instead of actually writing a good book. And it's just, they're not bad, but they're just not good enough to keep my interest. And so I've read actually very, very little fluff in the Warmachine universe. And I don't know, just because the stories don't grab my attention fully. Like I'll read it and I'll get through it. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. I enjoyed that. And then enjoy the fluff about different characters. But I know most of the fluff just from other people mentioning stuff around. And it doesn't. The writing isn't up to my level. I don't know if that sounds really snobbish or whatever, but I like reading like A Song of Ice and Fire and Lord of the Rings and that kind of stuff. And I don't dabble too much outside of like other books or like Steven Erickson. What does he write? I don't know. Anyways, so it's good, but not good enough for me to read lots of it.
It's not really what you spend all your time on.
Yeah, I might get around to it eventually, just because they're really easy reads and you can read them fast. But
yeah, I mean, the novellas, if you can throw them on like a little e-reader or whatever, then it's interesting. It helps expand on the world, and I do think the Iron Kingdom's world is interesting. It just depends on if they're telling the story through the eyes of one of the superhero casters or through like a side character. Let me see here. David Harris. Based on all the new stuff coming into the game, how much more competitive do you think Retribution has become? So,
A lot more.
well, Imperatus, but I don't know how much Assyria fixes everything.
Assyria just, I don't know if it fixes stuff. It's just different. Makes people have to bring like it's not as obvious a choice what to bring against Retribution anymore.
Yeah.
And,
I still find Ron to be amazing as a caster.
Ron and Ossian are the scariest for me still.
But Imperatus, he's a really good Jack. Retribution is a different play style. Like, the way Circle is a different play style. And so I think it just ends up being a bit of a learning curve for a bunch of people, and they might drop out of it before they really find that it's a super competitive faction.
Well, Imperatus is nice because it brings like the much needed armor cracking. I mean, they had some armor cracking as well.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's just
a big thing. Arcane Assassins, Mage Hunter Strike Force, which I think is quite scary. Mage Hunter Assassins, like, they've got really amazing units. But, I mean, Imperatus just helps, like, as a Jack, because before I think everybody was mostly like, I bring a Phoenix, and maybe a couple other things.
Right. So just as more diversity now, you can start seeing, and so hopefully we'll see more inventive lists as it goes on. But I don't play the faction, so I don't really know, but I think it's helped it become more competitive. Give more options, right? So it's a good thing.
Yeah, and every option they add like adjusts the meta a little bit. So, let me see here, Puppy Hater. What other factions would you guys have started Warmachine with instead of what you use now? I don't know. Cater's always been the one I like.
Well, to go along with my galleon, I may have made a small. Well, not so small purchase of bunch of, well, that's really blurry. There, a bunch of mercs and stuff.
Okay.
So I bought it off a guy who basically just had the Magnus team forces, and so there's a lot of Signar in there. So I helped flush out my Signar a little bit. Not that I needed any of that Signar stuff, but another defender is great. So I have both Magnuses now and a Galleon now, and so maybe Mercs will have some fun. I also have Constance and her stuff. So Mercs is more of an option for me right now. And then my pigs. I'm always slowly working on my pigs. Thornfall Alliance for the win. They're just so fun. They remind me the most of 40k Orcs, where it's just like a crazy, almost joke faction that they're never going to really make super competitive, or really don't care about making competitive. But when you play them, no one's ever played them before, because no one, and especially in a tournament, they're like, what does this do? And then you're like, ah! You just swarm with pigs, and it's hilarious. And then I get Midas killed. But, so yeah, basically those two factions. I tried Scorn out for a while, and I do still have some Scorn stuff, but I just didn't really enjoy them as much. The best part about Scorn was bringing all the minions units and playing with the minion units. And so finally I was just like, well, I might as well just play minions. And I found that I enjoyed it a lot more.
That's fair. I think mine might have been Signar, maybe, just because their aesthetics. Like, my whole appeal to it was steampunk, and the other factions sort of drop away from that theme more. I mean, Hordes has never really excited me, so that's the only other one I can think of. Let me see here. Alistair, sidearms only affects models base to base. Only base to base with hardship? Like, it can't just be like base to base with all, like, they can't just string together?
I think they all have to be in a circle.
That makes that super lame.
Because if they're all stringed together,
huh?
Because if they're just in a line, they're only base to base with two other guys, right?
Right.
So you might still get +2 defense, but that would only.
No, that's not the point at all. The point is to break it, not to just have I guess I was misreading that. That's terrible then, because it would have been awesome if just as long as they're all in base to base with each other, like the battle group is, then they get the defense. But
no, I don't think so. Is it with each other or with the caster?
well, in this model's control area and base to base with one or more models in this model's battle group, models in this model's battle group cannot be knocked down and gain +1 defense. So you'd have to bubble them up, basically, to get the most out of it.
Huh.
You have no line of sight to anything.
Is he a small base caster?
No, he's a large base. He's Karchit.
It's Karchit. Okay, yeah, Karchit. Well, let's see. Let's see, large bases. I need large bases. How many can you fit?
I'm guessing 5 or 6.
You're not really worried about AoEs at all, besides ones that like light you on fire.
Oh, even then, I'm still armor 20.
Yeah.
Oh,
You might be able to fit. Yeah, you can fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 around Karchev, but that would only give Karchev the amazing defense, and the other guys would only be in base to base with 3. So really, you're only getting +2 or +3 defense with that spell.
that's not nearly as fun as I'd hoped.
No, so basically, you're just getting up to normal defense values for other factions.
Lame. Not the point.
Yeah, that's the lame version of bringing lots of jacks for Khador, because they don't do that.
Alright, more insane will be the last one. Dan, you mentioned playing with Sturgis. Have you faced any of the other new casters or solos? Anyone stand out in existing lists?
I've played a few times against Iacos, the Crix one. He's good at running like more of a ranged jack, just going around, and with his jump he can do some pretty crazy stuff. But just as a Signar player, I'm usually able to snipe him out really fast, and so that's always the risk. Just Gaston with the Galleon is actually super nice, because the Galleon's big enough, with a big enough threat with reach. It's hard to get around him, and then he can stay back like the full 8 inches, just barely tap the control range, and you just kind of throw 3 focus on him every turn, and do what you do. And he has Gypsy Kiss. It's hilarious. You have a Gypsy Kiss gun. It's a hand cannon with magical ability or magic attack, and it has rate of fire 2. It's like I don't know. I love that name, Gypsy Kiss. It's very just gotta go kiss a gypsy, or maybe it's a gypsy kissing you. Either way, you're dead. Let's see, who else have I played against? Jake's really works well, except I played against Iron Mother, and they fed back my jack, and then they hit it 5 times, and then Jake's died. That was disappointing. I was like, oh no! So anything with whatever either feedback or the spell that gives feedback. What's it called? Anyway, someone Rhett has it. Iron Mother from Convergence has it. Maybe someone else. But that just absolutely destroys journeyman casters. But just for most, no one really stands out super great. Like they're neat, but they don't break. And just as a Signar player, I've had a journeyman warcaster, and the best way to use a journeyman is to not put any jack on him, to just run him solo, just for his spell, Arcane Shield, which is amazing. And unfortunately, all the other solos that are new, they only cast stuff on their battle group, and so it's kind of like, a Gaston again with his Gypsy Kiss. If you have 4 focus, you can be like boosting hand cannons and destroy with the magical attack. He's actually super useful by himself. I think he'd be great. Jake's is okay with a couple initials, sprint and stuff, but I think people need to look more and more into bringing them as solos instead of bringing them as a battle group, or bringing them with a very cheap jack that you don't really care that much if they go inert. And I think that's where the German are gonna shine, if they are at all used. That's my 2 cents.
Alright, I don't know. Oh, Malikov that redline spell is pretty darn good. He has Sucker though, so getting shot at isn't as big a worry for him.
Yeah, I found it out. I was like, oh, Sucker? What?
Yeah. I know.
But the problem is that with him, Malikov, you redline, you're like, boom, and you run a jack up, and he does his thing, and it's cool. But then he's like way in your control area.
Yeah, he still runs and charges. Like, you can still upkeep it. And so even then, you have an autonomous jack that runs and charges for free and hits terrifyingly hard.
But
And
if
has
you
armor
begin with,
20.
like light infantry, what's his mat? Oh, does it increase the mat at all?
Yeah, it's just strength and speed. So.
Right. So if you put a bunch of high defense stuff around him, you kind of can, with no focus to boost, you can kind of negate his effectiveness for a turn.
Yeah, you could.
I don't know. The only time I played
can't
against them was in hardcore, and so they were really pressed for time, and so I really didn't see the full effect of what could happen. Because they're like, I don't know, done. I was like, well, you did some stuff. That was good.
7 minute turns. Oh, I can. Alright, well, we should sign off. We're over time.
All right. Rect, good luck with your Kid Aramena. Everyone wants to go mercs these days. Well, Chris, they're fun, okay? And it just makes sense as Signar because you can bring like all the mercs, so I can just interchange, and all the stuff I bring, I can bring in every which way, and so that's why I like mercs. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope we talked about something interesting. If not, well, whatever. We had some fun. And we should have battle reports upcoming for you guys. And so look forward to that.
I'm working right after I get off here, so it should be pretty quick.
All right. Okay. Thanks again, and see you guys later. 2 weeks. Same bat time, same bat channel.